people too, probably. Depending who your wife is, Bob. Oh, I didn't say. Use your strengths. If you're in covenant relationship, my wife and myself have two totally different strengths. My wife is much better at administrating financial and the stuff, books and stuff than I will ever be. Why? Because I hate numbers. They never hold still for me. They jump out of place. They move into lines I never wanted them. With her, they stay.
Yellow sticky pads.
I love yellow sticky papers. My first bookkeeper had at the shop, used to say, "Ben, throw out the sticky papers." I said, "Well, how would I communicate with you?" There's always a little scribble in a note. Hey, we learned how to work. Dan knows. Dad shaking his head. I know, yes, I know. Dan is my administrator at church. We're in covenant together. I'll let him take care of those. Without interfering. But we have our strengths. We have our weaknesses. And when two people come together in a covenant, you can count on each other's strengths. Don't try to be each other. Count on each other's strengths. Use those strengths in your relationship. If you're better at cleaning house than your wife is, then clean house. It's division of labor, trying to get the same thing done, trying to get the thing done together in the least painful way. Now, of course, if you happen to be one of those people where he or she is better at everything than you are, no. There's a few talents you should learn. That doesn't mean you can sit at home and watch TV and do nothing now because he's better at cleaning than I am. And Pastor said, don't ever think that's what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying here. That's why I quickly corrected that. You still divide the labor. You still end up working together. But you'll have natural talent or natural ability in different things. Use your talents. Allow your mate to use their talents. And then together you're much stronger than you would have been individually.
Stay-at-home moms need to be work-at-home moms.
Stay-at-home moms means work-at-home moms. It doesn't mean just sit at home. I'll let my wife talk on that sometime. So submission is not just being subservient and bowing down and saying, yes, massa. That's not what it's about. It's bringing your gifts and your talents into a covenant to help the other fulfill the vision that God has placed in their lives. Now, when the right time comes in most covenants, the leader can release you and promote your ability to another leader where you feel called. This is where in a church, people come in and they work and they spend their time and they show themselves faithful. And then the time comes where the leader in the church, the pastor in the church says, this is something, you'll be good at this. And somebody says, I need somebody. Well, I have somebody that can do that. And all of a sudden you start getting promoted and you start getting exalted because a man's gift makes room for him. But if you don't know what your gift is, if you don't ever use your gift, the pastor can't ever see to it that you get promoted. In a church setting, how well you follow will determine how quickly you will lead. If someone cannot submit themselves to serving in one area where they don't influence the people, they won't be put in a place where they'll be seen as having received the stamp of approval to lead the church. If we have somebody that's always bucking the authority and all of a sudden they say, Pastor, I'd like to lead the youth group. Of course you would. And guess what's going to happen after that? Sunday morning there'll be an announcement. No, we have not started a new youth group for anybody that heard that we had. Well, why? Pastor, that sounds very controlling. It is. But it's good. It's healthy. If a person will not support the local vision with their finances, their time, or their talents, they may go out, but they won't be sent out. A credible ministry will always ask for your previous pastor's recommendation. In fact, we have, when people join this church, if they've been members elsewhere, the first thing we say is, you go to your other church, we want your church to send us your membership. Why? Because that's how pastors communicate without you knowing what they're saying to each other. Then I get your membership, and it comes from the other pastor, and it says, David Gunter was a member in good standing. And then usually the pastor will say something. They were involved in kids' church. We recommend him to you and ask that he be as big a blessing to you as he was to us. And you go, okay, this is fine. If the pastor sends me a little note saying, well, David Gunter was a member here. We hope you have better luck with him than we did. Guess what happens? Yes! I hear there's a party going on in his previous church. Why? Why is that important? Because it's part of the accountability. It's part of the learning how to follow. It's part of the walking together. When we've had people leave this church, I've had pastors contact me and say, this person is asking to be a membership. In fact, at one time they weren't even asked to be members. They just started attending a different church, and the pastor phoned me and says, what's with these people? Now I could tell them. Why? Because it's part of the accountability, part of saying, okay, there's a right way and there's a wrong way. So a credible ministry will always ask for your previous pastor's recommendation, even when all the people that are signed up for Bible school, they signed up for Bible school by correspondence. And guess what happens? I have to fill out a pastor's recommendation. So then Al brings me a letter, Brian, Bonnie, David, they all bring me a little piece of paper, and it says, this is from the Bible school, it's a pastor's recommendation. I go through it, and then it says, would you recommend them? And then it says, grade them on different areas, and I have to fill out what I think of them. How well do you know them? How close have you worked together? What are strengths? What are weaknesses? What are blah, da, 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 da. I fill it all out, and it says, put it in a sealed envelope and send it back to us. So they don't know what I said. And then it gets sent back to them because that helps them to decide whether these are people that they want to have in their Bible school or not. If they come back and I say, well, I can't work with them at all here, maybe they'll learn something if they go to Bible school, they're not going to get in. They don't want them either. Not everyone who calls themselves a shepherd is a shepherd. Many are chosen to be pastor in name only. They are expected to follow the orders delivered by the congregation, and if they don't, they are released and replaced. Jesus says the true shepherd will lay down his life for his sheep while the hireling flees. So a true shepherd is the greatest line of defense for the sheep. He is willing to get between the wolves and the sheep, face the attack himself rather than letting the sheep get scattered and attacked. I'm always amazed at how many pastors, and I put that in quotation marks, feel called to quieter places as soon as an attack comes. If the shepherd, is the shepherd willing to stand his ground when an attack comes? Or does he turn tail and run, resign and move to a safer place? Is the shepherd looking out for himself, or is his heart for the people? Does he pick leaders that have a pastor's heart or a servant's heart? Or does he have leaders who are just in it for the prestige? Well, I'm just going to convince pastor that I'm the best man and I'll get the place. Is the shepherd vanilla? Some of you may go, what's a vanilla pastor? Well, he's lost his personality, his vision, and his purpose to become a people pleaser. There are pastors, they have no personality, no passion, no vision, no purpose. We're just here for a job. When we're done, we go home. To me, that's a vanilla. Flavorless. Does he avoid calling sin, sin because somebody might get upset? See, even if you have a strong leader, a pastor with a heart for the people willing to lay down his life, there are still attacks that are going to come in to try and stop your ability to receive from your pastor. Now, one of the first things will be rooted in pride, one of the first attacks. Now, this can be pastors, this can be bosses, this can be leadership at any places this happens, in homes, it happens everywhere where there's a covenant.